Anchor Points podcast, guys. Thank you for being a fish.
Thank you for being a pal.
Hey pals, and welcome back to a very special episode of Pentool Pals, episode 20.
Yeah. Did it, Cole. We did it. And we beat Lincoln, but it wasn't a race.
You know, Pentool Pals is a friendly graphic design podcast between two graphic designers. I'm Cole from Cole F Design.
I'm Canvas Cam from Canvas Design Company. Welcome to the podcast.
For those of you who haven't been with us before, thank you for joining us today. For those who have joined us on every episode up to 20, thank you for joining us every week.
Yeah, thank you guys for being pals, being our pals.
Yeah.
Without you, we couldn't have done this. And the growing support for the podcast has meant the world. And it's the only reason we're still doing this, because if it didn't grow in the way it did, we probably would have been burned out by now. But, you know, the flame is still lit under my butt.
Absolutely. And thank you for being my pal, Cam. I mean, it's been awesome throughout all the weeks, just getting to know each other more and more. And
yeah, dude,
about each other's stories. So this has been pretty epic.
Yeah, dude. From the start of this thing, you know, we'd known each other just a few months, kind of throwing back ideas. And now I feel comfortable showing you my work and getting critiqued by you and vice versa. I've been super stoked to see some of your work beforehand, before it gets posted, like today's. Today's was a little dicey for the gram.
It was a little dicey for the gram.
I feel like the response on it was great. And if people don't know, what did you post today, Cole?
Yeah, Big Titty Club, baby.
Yeah.
Big TT Club.
Big TT Club. Don't be mistaken. It's TT.
There's two comments on it that was really funny today. One was from my buddy Matt Dean, and he was like, "Big table tennis guy, like TT." And I was like, "That's hilarious." And another one was from John Leon, and he was like, "The next one you should," because we were talking about drawing penises on the show.
Yeah.
So he was like, "Is the next one going to be Big PP Club?"
Yeah. Shout out Don. That's shit's hilarious. Yeah, last week it's funny, he's never seen Superbad, but if he were to watch Superbad, he would resonate with Jonah Hill's character so much.
I mean, everyone needs to watch Superbad.
It's a great movie.
You know, that rolls into some of our old talks of people on the podcast in the past who we've had on so far. And I mean, we have had some pretty amazing guests throughout all these episodes.
We've been crazy fortunate to have, like, you know, from John Bannon being our first, Corey being our second, everybody in between, Lisa Champ, Draplin coming on. That was amazing, you know. Yeah,
like starting with John. He brought on, remember he was drinking a whiskey on the show.
Yeah, dude, he made us look less cool. Our first guest made us look so not cool.
Oh, that was so funny. And that rolled into a lot of episodes in the future where we have a beard and we drink on the show. And that was all because of John's coolness, you know, slowly rubbing off on us and giving us ideas. So that was really fun.
And then Corey, we actually, on that next episode, we drank a beer with Corey, when in fact Corey caught you drinking water and called you out.
That did happen. That was in fact true.
Yeah.
That was and that was also cool because Corey had so many beer designs that he's had, which also rolled into a future episode with Nowhere Land Supply.
Yeah.
We also had a ton of beer, and I think we also drank a beer with him too.
I don't think we drank a beer with Brooks.
We just looked through all of his
beer. We just looked at his beer designs and stuff. Yeah. I don't think it ever came up with him, but I would have totally been down. The one with Corey, it was 10 in the morning, and by the end of it, it was 11, and I was like, all right, I need to take a nap.
Yep.
So, and then I believe the next time we drank a beer was with Francisco, Never Made. And that was a fun one. I think I I think I had 2 beers in there, and then he had 2 Pacificos. Well, he had Pacificos rolling out because his wife
Yeah,
was
he did.
on
Tall
standby.
boys. He called them big boys,
Yeah,
tall boys or something.
yeah.
And Zach Newton brought on, what is it, like V8?
He had a V8, yeah. Yeah, that fool had a V8. And
So
then in the whole drinking fashion, I got called out for drinking out of this guy from Draplin who said I'm a mule.
that's right. So I
Yeah.
mean, there's so many things that roll into each episode with so much character from each individual. When we first started the podcast, it wasn't initially intended to bring on people every show. We
Yeah.
were a mixture of insight into the graphic design world, and that's kind of our first, how many episodes? Like 5 or 6 episodes was just talking about our experience in design. It rolled into what it's become today, where we have guests on every show, and within talking to these guests, we're getting that same insight, except through different people's eyes.
Yeah, totally. We've definitely gotten lucky to kind of like, pick their brains and kind of take little nibs of information, exactly what like our guests are doing too. But ultimately, it's like we're making new friends, and I think that's the initial goal for myself, for you. The whole thing is Pentool pals, and so it's like we're getting to create new friends. But what I love is that there's a community that's getting kind of brought up with everything. Each guest that we have on, our followers and our pals are gravitating to those people, and it's like they're getting inspired and they're doing better. And I've been seeing a bunch of people in my inbox just be like telling me, love the podcast, love what you guys are doing. And it's like that makes this all worth it. It's like I love Pentool pals even more with each message that I get that's saying like you guys are helping me kind of realize the things that I didn't in graphic design. Because graphic design, it's hard to know what you're doing. It's hard to know if you're doing something right, if you're doing something wrong. And it's like the way I look at it is, in graphic design, there's no wrong way of doing things. There's only better ways to do something.
Absolutely.
Like I can do a graphic, and because I did it a certain way that wasn't as efficient, doesn't mean I did the job wrong. Definitely. And so like the biggest thing is being able to talk on here on a platform. It's like I'm gonna take little pieces of advice, just how anybody else is, and it's growing this community, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, just like you said, and echoing what you're saying, is that it's funny, as like before we did Pentool pals, people would always talk with each other on like comments and DMs and whatever, and that was a cool thing in itself. But now I feel like everyone's getting so much closer now, because we get to talk to them in, it's still videoed, but we get to talk to them over Zoom. We get to get more of their personality, have like a real deep conversation with them versus like a hey here, a hey there kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's, for me at least, it's felt like such a closer graphic design community that's being built, and I owe it to that's happening, at least for myself.
For sure. The last week's episode with Don, man, it felt like we were already friends with him.
Yeah.
It was so easy just to kind of, from the moment we jumped on the call, it was so chill. And I think like a little peek behind the scenes, everybody, I'm a little nervous going into every single one. And I ramble on. Draplin, I was nervous as hell. Mikey from Boss Dog, oh man, I was just like, don't say the wrong thing, don't say the wrong thing, don't say the wrong thing. And so with Don, while I have been such a fan of his work, because I had already kind of been talking to him on Instagram more than anybody else, really, it was like all nerves were down. And I think that's the one thing, because we're not perfect at this. Like it's definitely taken some time to kind of get used to, talking, doing an intro, piecing it all together, knowing Cole on a different level, to where it's like I need to know what is comfortable being left in and so I think as a whole, the more we do this podcast, we become more comfortable so that we can put out better content.
You hit on like being nervous before each episode, because same here, and like you said too, like we're graphic designers, we're not podcasters.
No.
You know what I mean? And so it's been fun. You know, obviously we're learning throughout all of this, and a lot of it is a really selfish way for us too, is that we just get to hang out with other graphic designers and learn their stories. So, you know, that's
Yeah.
itself. Um,
In what world before this podcast would we have been able to jump on a call with Aaron Draplin and Francisco and all these other graphic designers who are phenomenal? Like Lisa Champ, she's way over in New York.
mhm.
Like, in what way would, without this podcast, hey Lisa, do you want to jump on a call for a little bit? That would have been creepy. But
Right. Yeah,
but but
absolutely.
but it's something about, you know, getting more familiar with the community that's just been, it's super good. And you said it straight on. I feel like the design community is coming together a little bit more tighter because of what we're doing. It's been really cool. Like, some of our followers follow some other people that, you know, it's like they had no connection in there, but
Mhm.
now, you know, through what we're doing, they're connected.
Having so many artists that I've looked up to, I know you've looked up to as well, to where we're able to pick their brain, just like we said that our audience is doing as well. I feel like it's made me a better graphic designer. I feel
Definitely.
like, you know, and that's what this is also all about, is to like help anyone starting out or whatever level of design you're in right now, to be able to watch these podcasts each week and take a little bit of information from somebody to help yourself grow and towards the future.
Totally. And I second that, dude. Like, in the last 20 weeks, like, I could look back at old projects, old logo projects, and be like, why did I do it like that? You know, why did I present it this way? Like, I've learned from you. I've gotten to learn from, you know, a bunch of people who have shown their work, and, you know, being able to see Brooks and Corey's, their illustration work up close, getting a little bit of information, like, you know, why are we drawing in pink and blues to sketch
Mhm.
out stuff? I took that, and my illustration work has gotten so much better based off of you and Brooks talking about why you do it that way. Now I've applied it to my own work, and there's this t-shirt design that I just finished, and it's probably, and I showed you this, it's probably the best t-shirt illustration and lockup I've ever
Share
done.
it. Share
And
it.
and I,
Share
huh?
it. Put it on.
I can't right now. Unfortunately, I have to wait until the comedian shows it. I would 100% show it,
No
and we
worries.
can show it. We can
We'll
show
show
it
it
on
in
a
the
later
future.
episode. But
But that is a good roll in. I'd love to see anything new that you have been working on, Cam.
yeah, some of the things I've been working on the last like few days, since I'm gonna be going out of town, I'm taking a little like mini vacation. I've just been catching up on a lot of like retainer stuff. So I've been doing a lot of extra EFX work, so promo graphics and stuff like that, advertising design. But the majority of what has been taking up most of my time is a recent branding kit that I did, and I can show this one off. It's just kind of like the mother company of a restaurant, and so this one's going to be used in a different way, but we had a lot of fun with it, so that's what I'll show right now. So this is BKFD. No acronym for it. This is just, it's basically, it's just Bakersfield. So I did a t-shirt design for Radio Sandwich a few weeks ago. And so we kind of did two jobs in one. So I did the t-shirt illustration, and I did this. She basically just wanted a branding kit for her mother, or her mother business, to Radio Sandwich. But the inspiration behind this was kind of like Japanese writing,
Mhm.
a little China. Um, and so we just kind of made a little branding kit based off of this. Just added different shapes around it for the most part, but then we kind of got into more
That's
of like
sweet,
more of branding elements. So this is
Brad.
a complete custom type. So I just kind of, you know, built all of this out,
Yeah,
and then
that's
I
rad.
made it readable so that she could actually use the letters in a
Mhm.
different way. So, and then
Ooh,
some
that's
more,
sweet too.
yeah, just stuff that she could use as, you know, stamps and
Mhm.
stuff like that. So from here, we just kind of went crazy with the color schemes and all that stuff. So she wanted red and yellow and black and white and stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
just went. I
Will
went.
you zoom out all the way and show how many?
Yeah, I went buck wild with this thing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I
If
kind
you're
of
a
just.
if you're a client looking at this, just remember anytime you give your artist another colorway that you want it in and say,
Mhm.
well, aren't you just changing the colors?
Yeah,
This is
it's
what
not that.
this,
Yeah,
this is
it's
what
not
changing
that.
the colors.
And if you're not a designer watching this, let me just tell you that this is a pain in the ass. Because as simple as you think it is changing the color, you gotta change. Just look at this. Just look at this. You can just see
enough
all of this.
enough said.
Enough said. But with this, I wanted to give her every version because I know. So for her main business, Radio Sandwich, I know the designer that did her first branding for Radio Sandwich. Shout out Shannon Labar, Purveyor Branding. Um, so I wanted to create something a little similar to her, so that Miriam, who owns Radio Sandwich, this is something that she's familiar with. So I don't have to explain anything to her on how to use all of these files. So on each artboard, everything's exported out. So PNGs, JPEGs. This is a very, very, very big file. And so when people come to me for branding kits, this is what they get. Um, and it's a lot of work, but it was super fun kind of getting to do this. And different color schemes go a long way, especially for when someone's wanting a little bit of branding. So this was a really fun project. I got to kind of stretch my legs on lettering a little bit, which I don't do a lot of. I do a lot of illustration type logos and like icons. With this one, I kind of got to blend a custom type together, just based off of laying out grids and creating this. So, and then just stacking it on top of each other and making it work. So,
Totally. No, it's great that you're able to give them multiple usages. Like
yeah.
especially a logo needs to be used in a vertical header of a website
Oh,
versus
for sure.
a business card or whatever it may be. Like
Definitely.
having those different ways to read it or to use it
Yep. And
is
here's the boneyard. So this is how I kind of got to the final product here. So I figured I'd show this. So basically, I just plotted out all of these by doing line segments.
Mhm.
Basically spaced them apart by this grid. So if I were to, at one time, this did fit into each one of these squares, and then I would just take different shapes and I'd make them match up. So for this one, I basically just made the D from there and I just stretched it out. So this matched up with that box. I'm pointing as if, yeah. um, and so from there, how I built this just custom type piece, I just expanded it. I added some little edges here, kind of fit it a little bit more. And then I expanded the whole thing and I made each piece their own piece. So then we came over to this one. This one was an option, but she liked the clean look of the letter form at the end of the day. But I made this version and I used True Grit Texture Supply hardware vector distressing kit. And I use it quite often for logos that have a little bit more distress to it. So shout out True Grit Texture Supply, sponsor us, for making such a great tool that I use all the time. So this mixed with the Vector Savior halftone kit, I use that a lot. I didn't use it on this one because it wasn't needed, but it was cool. So yeah, I did two different versions of this letter form, a skinny and kind of a thicker one. She wanted to go with the thicker one, so we just kind of bridged the gap. But yeah, man, my boneyard to get to this piece is heavy.
Yeah, it's always cool to see someone's Boneyard. I like that term too.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know if that's a thing or a term, but
it is
boneyard
for me, man.
is
My
now
dad
going to
used to
be how
use
I
this.
refer to it.
Yeah, my dad used to use that terminology, boneyard, for just how far of a process he would get to, like, mapping out a sign or something like that. He'd have old, like, perforated papers down on the ground, and he called it his boneyard and stuff. He also used it in regards to his chicken wings too. but but well, let's just go with this one.
Yeah, I love it. I love that. Boneyard.
um
It's great.
but yeah, so this was BKFD, super fun job. I got this one done in a pretty fair amount of time. It wasn't super complicated, and I think that's what makes a good branding kit, is when you can build a logo that can mix well with other branded elements and stuff. If you had a logo that couldn't match up and have little pieces like this to kind of bridge out the branding kit, I think maybe, and this is just my opinion, I think you've designed a logo that's a little too complicated. So yeah,
Epic, dude.
cool.
It's always cool to see your evolution of the page. I think this is nuts.
Yeah,
I've never built out as many colors in a design.
yeah, I kind of went nuts with it, but it was cool. And this is why I don't charge what I used to.
So the fun one for a hockey team. Corey actually referred me to him.
Oh, Corey Miller?
Corey Miller.
Cool.
So it was a fun thing where Pentool Pals was a full circle thing where this was a connection through someone that we had met over the show.
Very cool. Hey, Corey, where's my job?
So the project had to do with just creating like the bear's type and a bear mark. And just like you do, I just create multiple ways that they can be used.
Yeah.
So that you can use it with just the bear, just the type, or it together. And then really I just
Cool, dude.
colorways. And I wanted him to see how it could work with different intricacy levels.
Yeah.
But I thought it was pretty apparent that either one or two was going to be better. But that's just,
I like two a lot.
Sometimes you show what else it could be just so that it might stray them towards the one that you think is better.
Yeah.
So then there's some additional colorways.
Very cool.
That was fun.
Yeah, dude. I like that. I like that you went through the different colorways just to show them, because, like, sometimes picking a color can be quite a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it really can.
Color scheme, I should say.
Making the color changes is also a big pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So
some colors just don't go well with a certain color,
Right. And so I just like to show them, like, they might say, "Oh, I like green" or something, and then obviously that's so little of information. There's a million greens out there. So how do you tell them what you also think? So you're like, all right, here's your green, but here's also what I think could be cool, and maybe it shows them something that they haven't seen before. So this is Big Laws. He's a strong man. He's like one of the strongest people in the world.
Nice.
And so they would provide me with like a reference of his face.
Yeah.
So then I just like gave them variations of his face. You can see like a smirk or no smirk or more shadow. And then I just showed different ways that it can be used.
Oh, sick.
They went with something pretty similar to this, I believe, was the winner. And this was for a apparel brand, Ruthless Rednecks. Their only thing was I wanted to say hard as fuck and then go for it. So this seemed like the right vibe. They were stoked.
Yeah.
Really cool changes. And I showed just like different color options, but that was basically it. You can see like the difference between the two designs. Like they have like stars in here or and this worked really well because Ruthless and Rednecks had like the same amount of letters.
That's always
So
helpful.
I was able to balance it like between the skull, which was great.
Yeah,
Uh, Fun project. I got a lot of other things in the cooker. I've been slow to post on Instagram mainly to
I feel
slow
you.
down the amount of client work I was getting.
Yeah,
But now my plate is opening back up, so I'm taking on more client work, which is always fun.
that's good. Yeah, right now I have two projects that I'm working on right now, which is super fun projects, album cover, and I'm working on some stuff for some buddies of ours. Won't disclose that information quite yet, but yeah, I'm super stoked on that. But yeah, basically my plate's pretty open too. So hey guys, hire us. Well, not you guys, but if anybody else is listening, hire us.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to show one more project, and it's the same. It's for Radio Sandwich, the BKFD, but it's an apparel design I did for that I was like really stoked on. All right, and so this is the first job that I did in place of that BKFD that branding kit. So this is the job that we got started with. It was just an apparel job for Radio Sandwich. I got to play around with her pre-existing characters that she had made before she came to me, and yeah, we just kind of made a little T-shirt.
I love this, dude. This
Thank you,
is
man.
so sick.
Thank you, man. The teal in the background came secondary because she's gonna print on that actual shirt, that shirt
Oh,
color.
so cool, dude.
I cannot wait until we get to do this. It's kind of a sick t-shirt because it's sandwich eating a sandwich. But she wanted to do something cute with one of her characters. One, the characters didn't have color to them, so I kind of got to recreate and give them a little bit more life. But I also got to kind of chubby out the cheeks and stuff like that.
It's a cannibal sandwich.
Yeah, yeah. But mayo is life, homie. Yeah, and then just kind of this is her logo. I didn't design this, but I was asked to kind of like lay out how this was gonna fit on a t-shirt and stuff like that. Here it is on black. I really like I really like the badge style version of this one. And this is this whole thing just works incredibly well on black. So I can't wait to see it.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. It was a super fun project. I can't wait until I get to see it in person. So
It's a variant graphic. That's like a little low key.
a little bit, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always when I'm talking to clients, I've always kind of said like I'll make variants of your main logo. So Loki, they just stole my terminology.
There you go.
How great is that show though?
So good. They set it up so good for another season too.
Yeah, they did. I love how they brought in Immortus, um, the He Who Remains. I love how they brought in Jonathan Majors a little early to kind of set up to set up Kang in Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's gonna be fantastic.
Do you remember at all what we were gonna name Pentool Pals if we didn't name it Pentool Pals?
I don't. I thought about that same thing the other day. We'd have to probably go back and text pretty far.
Yeah, I remember we were gonna name it something because both our names start with C. So then we were thinking like,
Yeah, I wish we maybe.
I wish we kept those.
Yeah. I feel like I have something in my notes somewhere. Maybe in an old notebook. We had other names because Pentool Pals is like so it just fits so well.
Yeah, I've loved what it's grown into because it's really allowed so much from the name.
I love how cheesy it was at first and then it just kind of grew on us.
I remember that was what we were worried about, right?
Yeah.
It was like, is it too cheesy? But
Yeah.
we've kind of rolled with the cheese.
We definitely have. We definitely have. Like I guess we can keep this part in. As we're looking for the original name, other options for names that we were thinking. We've definitely rolled in the cheese of the corniness of the name because we know it's kind of cheesy,
Yeah.
but we just kind of played into it. We started calling people pals, and showcasing art. And whenever people come to us to they'll do pal of the week artwork, and we're always interacting with people, calling everybody pals. And I think that's what has cultivated this following, this community, is because I think to build any brand you got to make people feel a part of it, and I think we've successfully made people feel a part of it, because this whole podcast has been less about us and it's been more about them and more about our guests and stuff. And I think we're just this little community that we're feeding into is based off of just being friends with people. That's all we want.
And just like we talk about on the show about creating a brand for other people, some of the hardest part is creating a brand for yourself.
Yeah.
And creating Pentool Pals has been an ever-growing evolution of things that we create for the podcast. And
Totally.
and just as the show is about a lot of it's geared towards beginning graphic designers, a lot of our branding has been geared towards more or less of that like classroom aesthetic, or the younger like kindergarten like themes. Like these badges aren't
Totally.
like perfect, like where they're all just kind of like random eclectic like things that kind of feel like that friendly pen pal elementary vibe. I don't know, and that's kind of what it's.
And I've loved it since day one. Like I remember when you showed me the logos that you had came up with, and really it was damn near perfect from the beginning. I feel like we tweaked a few things here and there towards the finish, but just that classroom feel was perfect. I think you've nailed it just on the head. And as far as branding goes, like I feel like every decision that we've made in regards to content has been so on brand. And I think that's also important with the growth of our podcast, because like we did really, really well connecting with people right out the gate. Our Instagram page was growing so crazy fast. We've changed a little bit since the beginning. We don't post full episodes on Instagram anymore because we're trying to drive traffic over to YouTube and the other platforms like Google, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify and whatnot. But it's like the reception to our content has been received really, really well since the beginning. And we couldn't do it without you guys, our pals, watching this right now.
All right, I've scrolled back to day one of our text messages.
Okay.
And I had reached out to you laughing about the 300 variations of the logo I just created for our mutual client.
Oh yeah. He who shall not be named.
Oh, and this is what podcast concepts. Well, I was pretty organized back then. Oh.
Here we go.
I don't know why I thought of this first one. It's pretty bad.
And our name was almost.
The first one was bad. Retro Cole was not good at naming. But the first one was Crash Collective, and
Crash Collective,
it had to do with CC and like playing off of Cam and Cole's Crash Collective, like probably like a crash course on graphic design sort of thing.
I'm so glad we didn't go with that one.
Not very good.
No.
The other one I kind of like,
which
is funny, and we were gonna call it Anchor Points.
Anchor Points, yeah. I think that one was wasn't that my idea, because I wanted to kind of lead into with the Pentool, the anchor points of the Pentool and stuff.
Not sure the origin, but I have the notes here that we were gonna think about like making it all like nautical themed, so that way we're gonna slide in with the anchors and ships and fish. Easy play off the word points. Obviously, anchor points is an Illustrator term. But we're just gonna brand it all like underwater.
Yeah, I'm so glad we didn't go with that. Anchor Points podcast, guys. Thank you for being a fish.
Oh man. Well, I mean, also what was great too is in the very beginning, we had a viewer on the show who was just out of pure friendliness, pure palness, I'll say, drafted up a bunch of sketches and sent me a DM saying like, thanks so much for doing the podcast. Like, we love everything that you're saying. Like, here are these sketches. And that man was Judd Lively.
Yeah.
What a guy.
What a guy.
Created our mascot.
Benjamin Button. Yeah. I thought about him the other day because we kind of forgot about it. And so I have some, I'm drawing up some plans, but I want to use him more often because since we named him, we haven't used him. Yes,
we definitely need to use him more. And
yeah.
Secondly, we need Judd to thank for basically creating the idea of Pal of the Week, which has flourished into something amazing. And that allowed us to not only showcase the experienced designers, but everything in between as well. You know, if you're just starting or if you're just wanting to create something for the podcast. And that's been the coolest thing, is to see what you guys have been coming up with each week and being able to give you guys part of our platform to spotlight you each week.
Totally. And it's been, you know, I love getting those notifications that saying like, not just tagging Pentool Pals, but also tagging us personally, you know, with like either fan art or, you know, like custom icons for Pentool Pals, shit that Cole and I wouldn't even thought about, you know. But what I love the most about Pal of the Week is the excitement of when we'll send them a message going, hey pal, like we want to make you Pal of the Week. And, you know, like they'll send us a headshot, they'll send us like the actual photo or like the design and just the JPEG, but they'll send the design and they're just so hyped to get a little feature. And honestly, it's like, I love announcing who the guest is, and I like putting out the teaser. But I think my favorite thing to start the week is definitely showing Pal of the Week, because, you know, like those posts get the most likes, to be completely honest. But I think it's, you know, all of our followers rally behind each pal that gets chosen for each week. And it's something that people really, really look forward to start their week, you know?
Yeah. And I'm just stoked to keep that going. And if you are curious about how to get involved with Pal of the Week, we'll put up the little thing right here.
Boom.
Get inspired. Do anything you want that has to do with the Pentool Pals theme. Tag us, post it, DM us, whatever you want, a way to get involved. And we are super stoked to see what you come up with.
Yeah. All right, pals. Well, we're going to wrap up on episode 20. Thank you guys so much for being pals and supporting this podcast the last 20 weeks. You know, we literally could not have done this without you. You are the soul of our show. You are the lifeblood that makes us keep living. And yeah, our last 19 weeks has been a blast. The amount of guests that we've had has been incredible. We've been lucky enough to have each and every guest. So we couldn't thank you more.
Thank you all for being a pal, and we will see you next week.
Thank you for being a pal.
Dan, episode 20 feels good.
Yeah, feels real good. Thanks, pals. Hey, pals. Thank you for watching another episode of Pentool Pals. Really appreciate you being here. Hey, do us a favor. Go subscribe, like, all those things that people say. Smash the like button. And yeah, we also have other videos in our archives. I'm just going to pop up right here and here. Go check those out. And yeah, thanks for being a pal.